And we're live
Mm-hmm.
on the evening of the 5th of April, MoonDay,
MoonDay.
2021. Having some squash soup.
Mm-hmm.
We got stuff to talk about this week. We got lots of stuff to talk about.
Never a dull moment.
Including the COVID
Yeah.
that we thought we had in the house this week. That was pretty crazy. Chelsea got sick.
Real sick. Still
Yeah.
recovering.
She even got sent home today still from being sick. So last week, she gets like this allergic reaction thing going on. Not unlike we normally have. Like I've got a little bit of allergic reaction going on right now,
Mm-hmm.
But she had an allergic reaction. Her eyes were itchy and kind of swelling and stuff, and sinuses were backing up and stuff. And then rolling into the next day, one of the eyes stayed like really pink, and she started coughing really bad. Coughing all through the next day, and it became like to the evening that her throat was so irritated. There's a little blood even once when she was coughing, and then she wanted me to check her lungs. She had her stethoscope, so she had me put the stethoscope thing in my ears, and then she was like, she was holding it. She was like, "Hey, okay, do you hear anything? Do you hear anything strange?" And it's like, just sit still. And I took it and I really like stuck it on her back, and I could hear something in her right lung. And it was pretty weird to me because it it sounded like her voice moaning, hey, and it was so much like a voice that I asked her, like, "Are you making that sound?" And because I thought it was like she was making it with her mouth. I wanted her to be quiet so I could hear. But no, her lungs were making bad sounds. So Thursday, she was supposed to work Thursday, Friday. Thursday, couldn't go to work.
No.
And went to doctors instead. And doctor basically gave her a little Ventolin puffer,
Yeah.
and x-rayed her lungs and did a COVID swab.
Mm-hmm.
So that was Thursday, and since then it's been like all Easter holiday, Good Friday, whatever, blah, blah,
Yeah.
Saturday, Jesus climbed out from under a rock Sunday. And, today everybody's still off. We haven't heard what's wrong with her lungs yet. But the COVID test came back negative, which is good. So no COVIDity.
But it's terrible because like when I went to work this morning and like I couldn't help but cough, and then they're like, "Oh, what's going on?" So while I'm still like recovering, but I'm scheduled to show up, and they're like, so like I did my morning thing there, and then probably mid-morning, then they're like, "No, you gotta go home." And I was like, "Yeah." So I messaged our manager and I told, I'm still like coughing quite a bit, and the RN said it's okay for me to go home, so I went home. But tomorrow is a different story when I have no choice. Like there's no other schedule nurse to be on except me. So I still came home, tried to recover, laid down for a little bit. Couldn't lay down for much longer. Got back up, made some teas. Ryan came to check on me.
So you're gonna try to go back to work again tomorrow?
That's the deal. That's the
Nope.
deal, because they didn't have me covered for anybody.
Good.
Yeah.
Well, at least she doesn't have COVID.
I know.
And she's not in the state that she was on Thursday, Friday.
Oh.
Yeah, that was bad.
I was
So
like in bed and like I hate
I was getting ready to go to the ER, you know,
I was like, okay.
because it all looked very COVID-y, right?
Yeah.
And it looked like things were happening fast to her lungs, which was creeping me out.
I was wheezing, even just sitting up. It was exhausting. I was so fatigued, like just even to do little tasks, like I couldn't even go down the stairs or stairs, like so. Yeah, they're very much like COVID symptoms, you know.
Yeah, it was
I
weird.
it was funny because that Thursday I got called like 6:30 in the morning, and they're like, "Are you coming in?" I'm like, "I really am not feeling good." And you're like, "Yeah, no, you stay home." I'm like, "I wasn't mine.
Yeah,
I'm really sick."
yeah, they can just tell by her voice. I have a hi Ryan from Hillary Wilson. Hello.
Hi.
Um, yeah, it was wicked, but it's good to know it's not
Mhm.
COVID because tomorrow I start a new group at the studio. Okay.
Yeah.
So I was working all through the week, um, cleaning and prepping and reorganizing and retooling, rethinking how I'm going to run it this time and getting everything ready. And tomorrow morning at 08:30,
It's
it's
happening.
rolling, and I've got that weird feeling right now that I've forgotten something. Hey, there's something I'm supposed to have ready that's not ready for tomorrow. I don't know what it is, but
It will come bright and early.
it'll come. Something will hit me that I missed. But it's gonna be a different group. All young people. I'm pretty sure all or most all of them are in their 20s. There
Yeah.
might be one or two that are in their 30s or something, but I think they're all very young.
Young, fresh out of high school, probably.
Yeah, yeah. Some that are right fresh out of high school. Um, yeah, exactly. So it's gonna be a different round this time. Looking forward to it. Um, but I'm a little anxious too, like because it's a new group and they're all very young, and
Mm-hmm.
you know, Heather and I work. We're used to working with
A little
not necessarily
more.
our age mates,
No, no,
but sometimes
like
some of them, but
yeah, like
at least a kind of a diverse spread of
people.
people. Having a whole classroom full of young people is going to be a different experience. So
Mhm.
should be fun. Um, so okay, what are the topics? Well, there's a couple of things we can talk about that happened this week, but one thing we want to talk about that I don't think we should go into detail about it but we could talk around like the experience because we both had experiences of this where uh, people have like tried to coerce us in weird ways. Eh?
Mhm.
Um, Chelsea and I have we have a different kind of like we're exploring a different kind of relationship. Um, and that kind of came about through one of these things, eh?
Mhm.
Like, um, I don't know. Like we both find ourselves like we're flirty people. We're very social people and stuff. And you know, we both find ourselves flirting with other people and stuff. And uh, sometimes that can evolve into, you know, more serious things or what have you. But what we found is that there's there's people that I think misinterpret like our relationship when they kind of start like
getting in the
learning that like we're different, and they kind of like they take it as, you know, like liberty that we're just easy to do more than flirting with, you know.
Yeah.
And it's not really the case, eh?
No.
And so when they find out that's not the case, they can become coercive and weird, hey? And what, like I was saying, you know,
You can like get upset.
yeah,
Like,
threatening.
Like, whoa.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we hope it's not pneumonia either.
Yeah, but that's the thing. It's like that's what I was thinking. Is like, you know, when we went into I know it's off topic with the pneumonia thing, but when I went for my X-ray, I was like, the results are right there. Like, just tell me, because like I've gone to X-rays like with my clients, and I've seen their X-rays right there, and it's like but like that was my nursing thing. I was like, can I just see my films? Just see my lungs, you know? I just want to know there's not like wicked fluid or, you know, walking pneumonia or, you know, something. Goodness. But no, I didn't get the liberty to look at my own films. So hopefully tomorrow, mid-shift, get a call. Yeah, actually, you're still sick. I'm like, oh shit, no kidding.
Yeah, I wouldn't doubt it. Something's going on
I know.
with the lungs. It was, you know, it was quite rapid, that change in your lungs, and that hasn't entirely gone away. So
No,
something's
still
up.
struggling.
You know, I just thought that was my first think was, you know, it's a lung infection of some kind.
Mm-hmm.
You know, she needs antibiotics or
And all I got was a puffer.
Adrenaline puffer.
Yay!
You know, more of an assumption that it's COVID, maybe.
Yeah.
Going into a 4-day weekend.
Yeah.
So you can't get anywhere else on it.
No.
But I'm glad the condition didn't worsen.
No. But it's just this cough that's like, oh, come on. Is it done already?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, rooting back around.
I know. Back on that topic.
But yeah. Okay. Yeah, both of us have had these weird experiences, and this was what kind of led us into experimenting with this different, you know, because some guy tried to coerce Chelsea.
Mm-hmm.
She was flirting with, and he was setting up kind of a getaway for them and stuff, and she was thinking about, you know, taking off for a night with him and stuff, and there was ways to do it because at the time she was spending occasional nights at her parents and stuff like that. So she'd probably, you know, just drop off the kids at her parents and go off for an evening in the mountains with her friend, right? But some family stuff came up that weekend. He had it planned, and then Chelsea had to back out, you know, not necessarily because she wouldn't ultimately, but she just, you know, the family stuff made it such that the plan couldn't go through, right? And so she backed out, and then he's like, start getting threatening, hey? And so, like, basically, you know, oh, I'll like, you know, you think you guys can just like play games, you know, like you like hurting people or whatever, or
no,
you know, he was gonna expose her to everybody.
And here we are.
And there was some exposure, you know.
Yeah.
But the big ones was, you know, to her family and to me.
Yeah.
And, you know, when she came to me, it's like, you know, okay, this thing has happened. I was like, yeah, well, he's got no power with me, you know, because fuck him. Basically, like, no power, take away his power, right? Because, yeah, I'm not I'm not shocked, and I'm not, I'm not gonna freak out. And I didn't, But what we did do then is say, okay, like we both had these, like we both been married in both of our marriages. We had, um, friends that developed that, like flirtations and little like side romances and stuff that developed. In my marriage, I like outright cheated. Chelsea never did, um, but still like was basically thought to have. And so we thought, well, why do that? Like, why repeat the same thing in our new relationship? Why don't we grow from what we've experienced and take this event as a another case in point. We don't need to have or let's like at least try to explore dealing with our humanness, rather than trying to shut it down and dealing with our jealousies and stuff, trying to get over being feeling possessive of another person, such that you know you'll destroy a relationship if they just can't be 100% yours. Like there's I had a student, you know, not too distant past who like I think was basically, out of jealousy, uh, her whole trajectory was sideswiped. You know, she couldn't keep pursuing the things she was pursuing because of the jealousies, and I see that a lot, hey, um, with people that are in school and stuff like that. Uh, they get all weird about what their spouses or girlfriends or boyfriends are, experiencing when they're not around them. And they can't deal, you know? So, you get these weird coercions, and I had I've had weird coercions, you know, and those ones came, I think, more because of us already, having this relationship, that the dynamics of which are, we're playing with and exploring different things, but people learning about it and then like expecting that it just means that like we're open to all kinds of casual sex or something, hey, which wasn't the point at all, right?
And it's funny because it's like fucking COVID, you know? It's
Yeah.
like, dude, you think we're dumb? Like, no, I'm not just gonna go willy nilly out there. Like, really,
Yeah.
like, it's another thing to like be like to see them and be like connect and talk like this, Then like let's go to the bedroom right away.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. But I've had a couple of instances where
Yeah.
where women have
Let's go
been
to the
like,
bedroom.
okay, let's go to the bedroom,
Mm-hmm.
I hate to say no. It's flattering, but but then, again, it can be like, oh, okay, like it's rejection or something, and they get upset,
Yeah.
right? And so they can like start threatening and stuff. And the biggest one for us, of course, is there's like not much that anybody can do to us against each other. Like we're pretty much fatal proof. Hey, like fatals can be like the worst thing is your spouse knowing.
Yeah.
And we already know each other's stuff all the time. That's how we like our whole evening debrief thing kind of developed out of this, so that we make sure that we're like abreast of everything. There's no secrets. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
So they don't got that on us, but we're also professionals and stuff, working professionals, and so there's angles to manipulate. Hey, and we're also part of different, social communities and stuff, different groups, and so there's that concern too. She survived.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so yeah, it's frustrating, but I think though, the way to deal with those kind of things, um, is like having flat out honesty about what you're into, and what you're
Yeah.
doing,
Yeah.
and then you're bulletproof. Hey, but you know, can you be 100%? Like you can with your spouse, perhaps, but like in your whole life, you want everybody to know all your business all the time. You know, that's the thing. Hey,
Yeah.
people always got ways to maneuver and try to blackmail and stuff. But I don't know. Take their power away when the threat comes, and just go ahead and reveal yourself. Own it.
Take it on. Take
Yeah.
it on.
Yeah. I don't know. So that happened. There was something this week that was like that.
A little something like that. Yeah.
I don't know. You got anything you want to bring out, talk about, topics? I was going to talk about your Twilight Zone experience, but
I know that's weird.
Mm-hmm. But I don't know. Maybe there's something else you want to talk about.
Yeah, it's all weird. It's all weird, man. It's just like rapping. It's been quite like being sick and then like recovering, and like my kids went to go visit their dad, and um we went to go pick them up Sunday. Went to go pick them up, and I don't know if we mentioned it before, but um like his dad stays in the um, our apartment that we first moved into, and we moved uh, um, no, not our first apartment, but like one of our apartments. We stayed in the north side. We moved to the north side from the west side of Lethbridge, and I only had my two older ones at that point, and we went there, but we stayed there for quite a bit, and then we moved out. But anyways, we went to go pick up the kids there, and like I haven't seen my kids' dad almost a year. Almost a year.
Yeah, it's been because there was
Yeah.
episodes when we were in Costa Rica where
I just couldn't, deal with him. So like communications they're not great. Like not as great as I would like them to be, but whatever. But I saw him, and we exchanged words, and it was just a weird it's like ghosts or Twilight Zone. It's like, whoa, what just happened? Like
well, we've been coming into there because like she hadn't been back there.
No,
I've been this is a new thing. He didn't keep the apartment that whole time or anything. He recently moved back into the exact same apartment that they lived in before. Hey?
Yeah.
And so I've been going to, when he's seeing the kids, I've been going to drop him off, pick him up, and everything like usual. But then, Chelsea was with me this day and this afternoon, and we just decided we'd go over there and pick him up. So even though, like, the way that I drove into the area, she already started tripping and be like, whoa, this is like flashbacks. Because the apartment complex, you can't get into just from any angle. You have to come you have to come from one direction down the road in order to right turn into it, or you can't get into
You
it.
can't, or you have to do a big kind of U-y thing. And
Yeah, so if we're driving coming from pretty much the direction anybody's going to come from, we have to pass the place, turn into a neighborhood, do a U-turn, and come out. But she used to do that turn all the time, coming home and stuff. And so I took that turn, and it was like all very familiar. And then drove in, and there's the apartment. It's like the first apartment you see when you drive into the complex.
It is. It's like right there.
And then there was, her ex-husband and the kids on the lawn as we drive in.
And I was like, oh shit. I was like, okay, what do I do? Do I stay in the truck and be a weirdo, or just like, fuck it, just get off? So that's what I thought. I was like, all right, no, I'll just get off. Like, my kids see me. How can I not get off the vehicle and greet my kids? So I got off and like came running to them, mom, hugged them, and then exchanged, just a little small talk with the kids' dad. And then that was it. But it was like
It's trippiness.
it's just trippiness of the whole situation. And it's like, whoa, from here to there. And
But it's like yesterday,
well, yeah.
It's the same. Like it could have been. There was no Ryan in the picture. She
Mm-hmm.
could have just been coming home. It would have been the same
scenario.
It's wild. Hey.
Yeah. So it's like,
and we're gonna have a lot of those experiences.
Yeah.
Those kind of because of the like the reality that we're in and the things that we're doing and who we're with and the dynamics. Like,
Yeah.
if it goes to what it looks like where I'm gonna get my house back,
Yeah.
that's gonna be very weird too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Very weird to move
Yeah.
back into my house. Although I want to do it, it's gonna be very weird.
It's gonna be different.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
How trippy is that? Coming back into my house, but with a new family, right?
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay. We're gonna do this.
Yeah. So we've got some Twilight Zone experiences to come. But yeah, that was certainly something because she's been cut off from him for a while. Hey?
Yeah. My choice.
Yeah. Mitchell Mullins, the channel was going long before the rattlesnakes inclusion, actually. I just got a comment from Mitchell Mullins to stay with what brought me the fame, a rattlesnake catch and release man. The channel has always been a journal channel, and it picked up rattlesnakes as I went down that road in my life.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. But it's always included a bunch of everything that I'm doing. The rattlesnakes certainly gained me a lot of viewership, and there's a lot of people who are involved in this channel or who came to it through the rattlesnakes for sure. But I've never been trying to serve that, just that particular demographic or anything. This channel is a creative outlet for me, hey, to just like video journal my life. I've been journaling since I was 12 years old, and when social media and stuff started up, I switched from paper journals onto live real-time journals with people that can read them now, and not like imagine people who are going to find my journaling in archives in the future, right? And then I can have interactions and feedback with people who, think differently, like yourself.
Right.
But yeah, it's not. I don't make enough from this channel ever, or haven't ever, in terms of any kind of monetization or anything, to make me look at it like a business. Okay? This is a creative outlet for me. So if you don't like the content, just wait till a video says rattlesnake or something and press on that one. Okay?
Serve you.
Yeah. When it has a rattlesnake, it'll say rattlesnake in the video,
Yeah.
the title. And it'll go in that playlist. You can even subscribe to just the rattlesnake work playlist if you'd like. And then that's all you get is the rattlesnake stuff. Hey. So you got your choice if you want it. But my choice is I'm gonna keep doing what I've been doing with the channel since its birth. And yeah. And we'll see where it goes. Okay. You're watching.
Right.
Yeah. What else? What else has gone on this week? That's a lot in 30 minutes. I thought that would take us a lot longer to cut down, pack some of that stuff. But I feel like we didn't do it right. But it's because we can't go right into the stories of it, because if we get right too detailed, then violating other people's privacies and stuff, and we're gonna have issues with that. Then we're the bad guys. I don't want to be the bad guys. But in general, these people were not the bad guys. Really, we're the guys they're trying to manipulate and basically coerce, into doing what they want to do. It's wild. Yeah. What else? I already talked about nature stuff in the nature video. There's a lot of good, this has been a really jam-packed week full of stuff.
Yeah.
And somehow, unpacked it all in 30 minutes.
Right?
I don't know.
Feel like you're missing something?
I do. It's you got to be missing something, right? I don't know. It's been weird and jumpy. We picked up the kids yesterday, and then the kids went back again today. Hey,
yeah,
which is a weird thing.
Yeah, well, it gave me a chance to look down, in where they stay. Oh, God, it was wicked. I didn't even get through maybe a quarter, half of it, but yeah, mom life downstairs is just rank.
Oh, yeah, going into the kids zone. Yeah, we kind of changed things here where the kids pretty much have the downstairs as their living suite. Hey, they come up here for the kitchen and for the washroom and stuff, but their living space, sleeping space is down there. There's a big toy room, and they got kind of a playroom / sleeping area.
Yeah.
And we made it that way because they just migrated down there. We had them sleeping in the bunk beds up here, but
the next thing they're like, we want to move downstairs. They're like, oh, okay. So I started getting it prepping and bringing their stuff down, and then brought their mattresses down, and Ryan took apart the triple deck, which we no longer have.
It's moved on.
It's moved on to a new home, but yeah, it served its purpose good.
Yeah, it was fun while it lasted. Sometimes you just have a bed for a short time. Hey.
Yeah.
Back when I was a kid, I must have been third or fourth grade or something, and that movie Popeye came out with Robin Williams. And I thought Popeye was super cool. So I wanted to be Popeye. And, I had my dad, cut my hair, military, give me just buzz cut, and went to a Army Navy store, bought one of them like wool black Navy shirts with the little hoodie thing.
Aw.
Sailor cap.
Goodness.
And I was playing Popeye, and I had to sleep in a hammock because Popeye sleeps in a hammock, eh? So I convinced my parents to buy like one of those backyard hammocks with the frame, and I set it up in my bedroom, hey? And I slept in a hammock for a year. Yep.
Well, you still got hammock in you too, like.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I still have a hammock with me in my truck all the time, and all the way through when I actually did go in the military. In my field experiences, I didn't like to stay in the tents with the guys. I would bring my hammock, and I just use my military poncho. I'd run my hammock between some trees, run a line over the top of it, and drape my military poncho over it. And that was my camp. It's good to go. And I've continued to do that, like have always a backpacking hammock and stuff. So yeah. So yeah, but I slept in a hammock for a year, and then outgrew the Popeye phase. I forget what was next, like Indiana Jones or something. Got my bullwhip.
Hat too.
Yeah. I went through a lot of these phases. I was always like really acting whatever kind of role, hey, did like whatever I wanted to be. A lot of some stuff from movies, hey, wanted to be Indiana Jones really bad. I had to have the bullwhip and all that jazz. Got really into archaeology for a while.
There you go.
Yeah, North American archaeology. I'm sure it had a significant influence on where my life went, in various respects. I remember when I was really little wanting to be $3 million man, that the bionic man, Yeah, no, I was very impressionable. Show me a movie with some kind of cool character that
like, hey,
I could be that. Yeah,
do that.
And then I wanted to be a Green Beret, and I really tried. I got a top secret clearance in the U.S. military. Worked live missions and with special forces and rangers and stuff, and figured out the movies lie to you. What's going on with all of that stuff? Yeah. Then I wanted to be Blackfoot. After that. That's how I've been. Hey.
Yeah.
What do I want to be? I think now I'm Ryan, but people find it hard to deal with Ryan. Okay? They want me to keep acting. Hey? Yeah. They want me to keep acting. And I'm just ready to be Ryan now. I've acted all of these things. Now I got some perspectives, all these different roles you can have in life and what have you. But yeah, we got 4 people. You guys got anything you want to ask? Anything you want us to get into? What's upcoming? I don't know. For me, my mind is just on tomorrow. Hey,
Yeah.
What's going to happen tomorrow? And I've got the new group, and I've got to match faces to names like real quick. because it's insulting if you don't learn people's names now, you know. So I know, right? I did that right away in the morning. Plus, make a first impression on a lot of them. Um, there's people coming in that I think are gonna like, there's one student I already know, hey, and then there's one that my colleague Heather knows. That's her nephew, who's one of our instructors' sons, Theron's son. This is a couple of real familiar people. Um, there's a couple others coming in that might be related to might be from some of our, I think, uh, sons of maybe two of our students are coming into the program this time around. So they've already their parents already told them this is a good thing. Get in there and yeah. But kids have their own. Like, just because your parents think it's cool doesn't mean you're gonna love it. So like my dad wanted to learn Spanish, really bad. Hey, he's always wanted to learn Spanish.
Yes.
Well, he's learned a lot of Spanish, But at one point, uh, there's these people from Guatemala that live like a block and a half away from us or whatever. This older couple, and every summer the guy would go back to like Guatemala to visit family and stuff, but his wife was gonna stay home, hey, and she needed help like with different things, and one of the things she needed help with was they got these two dogs, and these two little white fluffy dogs, and she needs help walking the dogs. And so my dad, I don't even know how he met these people, the Montenegros, but he set up a deal where I would go every afternoon and walk the dogs with Mrs. Montenegro, and she would teach me Spanish, which I would try to then like tell him what I learned, hey. And the dogs were like really mean dogs, hey. Every day I was like a hair away from getting bitten, if not getting bitten by the dogs. They were the most ferocious little things, eh? Yeah, he just set me up to be terrorized by those animals. It was not a fun experience, Montenegros. So just because your parents want you to do it doesn't mean
it's necessary.
You're gonna come in the door and think it's cool.
No.
So, we'll see how these kids are, hey?
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm all like, that's where my mind is. My mind is tomorrow and meeting this new group, trying to like learn everybody real fast, make a good impression, get them jazzed up for what they're doing, hopefully they are jazzed already, but
yeah,
like just lifting that, coming into the program on a good foot. So, yeah, no, native. I always had to take piano lessons because my mom wanted to be a piano player. I hated it and never learned anything. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, just because your parents like it doesn't mean, yeah.
Well, they should take the class.
They did in some of these cases, and then they're like, "You get in there now."
Oh my god! Yeah, that's right.
That's the situation.
Yeah,
so they, we'll see whether the kids really like it or not. May or may not be their thing. We'll see. But the last group has had some really good success.
They have.
Several of them have received, well, not several, but a handful of them have received grants from Blood Tribe Economic Development now for their business plans. They've received small business grants and stuff. Oh, I did find out, by the way, that Siksika's, $30,000
Well,
that we can ask for.
better start writing.
Yeah, I might do up a business plan for Chelsea this over the summer here.
We'll see. We'll see what we could do.
That she can submit to her economic development department.
Yeah.
The Siksika. She's enrolled. She's got parents on both Bloods and Siksika.
I do.
She's enrolled. You can only enroll at one.
And I'm in Siksika.
Siksika. So
my day tomorrow is just survive the work day. Come
yeah,
home.
hey,
Yeah. And like dare not take off anything I'm wearing. Full PPE tomorrow.
Yeah, hey.
Yeah. I'm like, just put me in a corner. All you really need is just a nurse on the unit. And, you know, like, yeah, you would do a lot.
Suffering.
If you're suffering. But it's just, I don't know, it's worrisome. It just hasn't quite cleared, you know?
Yeah. No, you're going to be like snotting and coughing and stuff.
I'll probably get sent home again.
Probably. You can't do this.
Yeah. But still on the schedule. It was funny, my doctor, the doctor I saw, because it was a walk-in clinic and it wasn't my usual doctor. And he's like, yeah, well, if you need, you know, another note or something, call in Monday. And I was like, wait a minute. And it didn't dawn on me right away. I was like, Monday's a holiday. After fact, I was like, I ain't getting any note. So help me. Nope. No. Takes a lot for me to stay down.
Yeah. No, she was itching.
Yeah.
Once she started feeling a little healthy, just maybe I'll run to the mountains. And like, no. Maybe you won't. Maybe you guys stay home. I'll take you for a little walk around the pond.
Okay.
No, we went out. I took her out both Saturday and Sunday for little walks and stuff.
Oh my God. When we did the first one, like the first walk, and then like we went to Cottonwood, those like we didn't even really go right down to the valley part. We just went to where he was checking the dens. Oh, going up, I was like, that was gonna like near break asthma attack. Like my lungs were so tight and restricted. I was like, okay, maybe I'm not better. Took me a while to catch my breath.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah. No, she was hurting a little bit that day.
yeah. But then the following day wasn't too bad.
Yeah.
And then today, you know, it just sucked going, you know, being there. And I have to wear a mask, right? Of course, like in our facility, it's mask and face shield, like the whole thing. But putting it on and you're already like, I'm already having lung issues. I felt like I was suffocating.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah,
oh my God. Like, and I knew I had to wear it, but it just seemed more, and I had to do my job and go be around, you know, these vulnerable people. And I'm just like, oh shit. I was like, I'm going to go quickly do what I have to do and then just go back to the conference room. So I did that and went back to the conference room, and then I talked with the RN on duty, and then she was like, you should go. I was like, yeah, let me just finish. She's like, no, you need to go. She's like, message, you know, our manager and let her know that I'm telling you to go. It's like, okay. It's like, I'm coming home.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah. So, and then nothing else. I don't think.
No.
Nothing big upcoming.
No.
You know, just getting into, you know, I'm waiting for the animals to start. I don't know what's going on there. Like
Especially with the skunks, man. I
Yeah,
don't
my
understand.
skunks. Where's my skunk calls?
They're like not.
I haven't moved a skunk in weeks. There's traps out there here and there, but not even like a lot of calls or anything. It's weird. It's different.
Yeah.
First, like normal years, I get a lot of calls by this time.
And like we
Seems
usually have like skunk babies by now. Or
Well,
no,
no,
oh no,
they'll be
not
coming
yet.
like May sometime.
Yeah.
But
Well, maybe we got time.
we could be in that window right now when the moms are not, where they're avoiding traps because they're pregnant. But I don't know. I'd still be catching, like normally, I'd still be catching skunks.
Well, especially it's so warm,
Yeah. No, the rattlesnakes are already out.
That's
So
what I mean. It's warm. Like,
turtles are up.
what's going on?
Crypto Duck asks Ryan, "What do you teach?" I teach a lot of things, but I am currently coordinating. Not really an instructor.
Teaching, yeah.
I'm a coordinator of an Indigenous arts and entrepreneurship program where we take groups of 12 or 14 people and go through 5 or 6 months of training in learning all different kinds of Indigenous art mediums, like core art mediums, and then half the time developing small business plans and such. So that's what I'm into now. It's a thing that I designed like from scratch. Wrote the initial proposal for. Came up with the idea, wrote the proposal for, and have seen through. This will be tomorrow starts its third federally funded run of the kind of the pilot of this thing. We'll see where it goes from there, but it's gotten us thinking. Where this is one of the things that Chelsea and I are considering as a small business for ourselves, because I would like to have this experience continue with the studio, but where like what I see is that a lot of people enjoy the social aspect of and the therapeutic aspects of doing art together in a setting. Like it's different, well, anybody doing, like when women come together for sewing bees and stuff like that, and quilters clubs and things, they get that communal visiting and therapeutic art at the same time. I would like to have a studio where people can do that. um Maybe for some kind of a fee or something. Hey, like you can belong to. And then I can equip the studio with all kinds of equipment that they would need to use. You'd have to bring your core stuff yourself, whatever you're working. And if you're working whatever, beads or leather or whatever, you got to bring the materials. But all of the different tools and machines that you might need to play with that stuff, I should have in the studio. And then maybe you pay similar to like a gym fee or something to be a member of it. Another idea is a day use fee.
Yeah.
And if we have that combined with like a little storefront to it where people can sell the things that they're making, for and we get some kind of commission on the sales.
Yeah.
Is there a way to make that economically feasible where Chelsea and I can do it and make a living off of, or at least a good part of a living off of that? That's an idea we're exploring, because I've had a lot of fun with this program. But I know this third run, like the Service Canada only is going to fund it through this third run, and then I'm going to have to wait a period while they kind of look at the outcomes long term from these 3 runs. I might not get a chance to run the program again for another couple of years. I don't know. Hey, so I'm thinking about that stuff, and then just the fact that, like, why can't this just be a thing that's available all the time, not attached to this short-term programming and stuff. Hey, there's a lot of people here, even vulnerable people in Lethbridge, like people that are addicts and stuff, living on the streets and stuff, but they are might have some real strong artistic inclination. One of the things you can do is say, hey, if you're sober, you can come here, for $5 or whatever a day and make things. Hey, like do your drawings. We can transfer your drawings onto T-shirts or whatever, or onto whatever to sell. Hey, we can sell them in our storefront. You can give people like options to escape the places that they're in a little bit. Hey, and definitely, doing the art stuff is better than thinking that there's nothing to do and going in. Anyway, stuff we've been thinking about. What is this? How is Ghana, this from Mount Native, how is Ghana doing with COVID shots? A lot of people getting them. I live on the Salish Kootenai res, and we are only at 35 to 40%. You know the numbers?
I know right now they were doing high risks at the first, because they were doing probably about a month ago. They were doing the high risk, like the elders, all the elders on the reserve and off reserve too. They could come and get their shots, and then they extended it to high risk people too. So like people with diabetes, heart conditions.
Good portion of the
like
population.
Good portion. Even like obesity too. They hit that level too. I know quite a few on the reserve. They were hesitant to get it at first, but I think now with a lot of like people are coming out and educating about the shots and stuff. And
I still hear it a lot, even today.
I know.
Today, like talking about your, what happened to you this last week, getting sick.
Yeah.
One of like Julie, she was in today to pick up that thing.
Yeah.
And she was like, maybe that came from having that vaccine.
Oh, Goodness.
I was like, well, the vaccine was a while back.
That was
and
very
she's like,
delayed,
it can be delayed. That's why we're waiting to see what happens with people,
Oh my God.
Yeah. And Heather was right in on that. See, like, there's still a good number of people that are not going to do that vaccine.
Yeah, I know.
They're going to take the bruise. There are healers that are making medicinal brews.
Yeah.
Asokinakis that are making medicinal brews. We take those too, but if I could have the vaccine, I would. I called in and tried to get it, and I'm too young.
Too young. Too young
getting
right now.
Gray hairs.
So hey, let me grab that.
She plucked one off of my chest the other day. I was like, no, gray hairs. But I'm too young for the COVID vaccine still.
Yeah. I know, like for my facility, all our residents so far. Well, we've had a few couple admissions come in, but prior to that, everyone was vaccine up to date. Like everyone got their Moderna vaccine. The not the Pfizer, but the other one. Yeah. So like we do have like some that can't, but that's for other reasons. But yeah, no, like everybody. Even at work, we have those too. We have a few people that don't want to get it, and it's their choice too. I just don't understand it, but
yeah, it's wild.
It's like you didn't get polio, you got that. It's from a vaccine, right?
We have another comment from Crypto Duck asking, say earlier you mentioned you were interested in North American archaeology. Is that something you're still involved in?
Mm,
My relationship with archaeology has changed quite a bit.
yeah.
Um, I think, like, aside from Indiana Jones, what what got me interested in archaeology was an experience that I have that had when I was 12 years old that really like shook me. Like, well, it was like one of those things where you see the world differently, you'll never see it the same again, you know. And what happened was I had found an arrowhead on a farm field, kind of on the outskirts of our neighborhood, and it was a situation where you had this farm field on an old ancient lake bed, um, and then you had the old growth forest, and then on the other side you had these, like Edward Scissorhands suburbia, and just picking up this arrowhead, which I still have, by the way, and looking at the old growth forest and knowing that this used to be an ancient lake bed, and then looking at Edward Scissorhands land and stuff, you realize like people live very like differently in relationship with this environment very recently. It's like yesterday. Look, the stuff is still here. It's just sitting on the ground. And so I started getting interested in archaeology, not necessarily for what archaeology is really about, but just how it showed me, oh, this isn't like something from the long ago past. This is like yesterday, and not only that, but it's being covered up, fast, rapidly by this expanding Edward Scissorhands land, and then the agriculture that's
Steamrolling
taking out the forests and all of that, right? So I saw the development in it. I saw the weird thing and the hiding of a history that's not even a history. It's just like now still, right?
Mhm.
The colonization is exactly happening now still, right? Not something of the past. And this is where I think people mess up with like in Canada, we have the reconciliation efforts and stuff. And the way that it's framed, the narratives that it's framed with all puts it in the past. Like everybody thinks about it as residential school and all this stuff that happened before that old trauma is still being, but the fact is that the colonization is still happening. So I started seeing that when I was 12 years old, through just an artifact. Um, but it definitely changed my life. And then I think when I was maybe 15, I had continued to have that interest. And so my parents sent me with this, the Oregon Museum of Science and Industry runs all kinds of different things in the summer, camps and stuff. They had this thing where they were taking kids for 6 weeks, like high school kids, for 6 weeks on a bus tour through Colorado, Utah, Arizona, New Mexico, all of the Anasazi ruins and stuff, and then going to a bunch of events that are happening at the living like pueblos and all this stuff, right? So I got on that, which was a hardship actually, because you're on this fucking school bus going and camping in all these places. Like I lived off of ramen and peanut butter sandwiches and oatmeal that 6 weeks. And I found out I hate archaeology because, well, it's a weird death thing. Hey, I've come to understand it better now after being in the Blackfoot world a little bit and looking at it from this perspective. One of the things that I learned, and this is how I'll frame it now, but I could see this even when I was 14, 15. I just didn't know how to talk about it, what I'm going to say. Hey, but um, coming up here and living in this community, I've had the experience of going around the landscape with elders and engaging with the landscape in different ways, and including at these sites which would be considered like heritage sites
Mm.
from the archaeology tradition. What I notice is that the archaeology tradition falls within a kind of a bigger mainstream Western trope that views a lot of things in life as actually dead already. Okay. It's a life and death thing, and there's this big death complex, and I don't know exactly what it's all about, but if you look at the way that the bodies are treated, there there's a big effort made to preserve a dead body, okay, not to let it decay, not to let it go back to the earth. In fact, it's even the hospitals have joined in on this. The medical community, they're like, "Oh, this is a what do they biohazard material, right?
Yeah.
Your human body is biohazard, so they
They burn it.
incinerate it
They burn it.
rather than doing
Give it
anything
back.
productive with that energy. We are sun energy, right? Like we're
Mhm.
sun energy and earth. Okay, all of this stuff we brought into, but we're energy. That's the thing that we have to share with everything
Back.
else.
Yeah.
That's the thing we have to give back. Is the thing that we take the energy and we can give it back in good ways, right? So with our bodies, in the Blackfoot way in the past, the body was presented back, okay, given back. You can't do that in the Western tradition. You're bound to, you either have to preserve the body and bury it in a vault, or you have to incinerate it. You got these two options now in Lethbridge because of an influx of people from the Middle East.
Yep.
Now they're allowing shroud burials, which
Yeah.
I'm going to participate in. Should that be my only
Option.
viable option of going back into the energy system when I'm past? It kind of sucks that their way is okay, but Blackfoot way from here you can't do
You can't
still.
do no.
It's illegal still, right? But the shrouds is okay. So what? Now you're getting me worked up. But okay, so how does this tie in with archaeology? Well, the problem, like when you look at, okay, say for instance, here we have these World Heritage sites, places that have been designated as World Heritage sites, like Writing on Stone, or the head smashed in Buffalo Jump. These are places with big archaeological significance and a lot of historical, importance and stuff. And but in the Blackfoot tradition, they're looked at as living places, literally at the Bisco, a place with a living presence at the Bisco. But from the mainstream, what I notice now from being in the Blackfoot world that I noticed before but couldn't like see exactly the same, of course, was that they're treated as dead. Okay, they're treated as dead rather than living places. And so the whole death complex is projected onto them. And so there's a big attempt to preserve the body. And so at these places, you're not allowed to touch things and move things and change. You don't pick up a rock. Okay, if you go into one of those, if you're on the Navajo reservation, you go into one of those old Anasazi ruins, you're not supposed to pick shit up. Okay, everybody does, but you're not supposed to, right? You're not supposed to. You're supposed to leave it there. That's preservation of the body. If you want to learn something from that place in the Blackfoot tradition, of course, you approach it like a living elder and develop the relationship with it and ask the questions of it. But in the mainstream tradition, they learn from it as though they're doing an autopsy. And so what archaeology is that autopsy. To learn from some, historical place, about that place and about what happened in the past and about, what we can learn from it to applies to our present. It's just a totally different approach. It's approaching those places as a dead place. And so, the the only thing that matters is that little bit of physical evidence that's left and what it can tell you and stuff. And you very carefully do the autopsy and take the body apart and, take the pieces out and that kind of thing. Whereas I've been with elders to places that were going to be excavated and listen to elders like just read that landscape just from what's there and tell you exactly what the archaeologists are later going to tell you happened there because of the physical evidence that they went through an autopsy. It's just different approaches to that. But like, that's why I see archaeology as it's so death fixated that I can't get into it. And it doesn't very often, now it's less the case, but still the testimony of living people doesn't matter as much. And like up here, say for instance, you find a piece of Knife River flint. You find an arrow or a lance head made from Knife River flint. Instead of saying this is a Blackfoot arrow, which it is, if it's here, most likely, they say this is the Knife River flint culture from Wyoming. And it makes it seem like, people can't fucking trade stuff. No. Like there's actual people carrying this, we're carrying this culture and living over here now. Whereas in fact, it's just like the spread of the iPhone, in reality. I have problems with why aren't they engaging with the living cultures? Like even when I was on that early trip as a kid, the juxtaposition of going to these places that they were saying Anasazi, and then you go to a pueblo that has the same shit going on. You see the ceremonies happening today and like the kivas and stuff. Like you can see the whole everything. Oh yeah, those places are these people, right? These are these people's old places. But they're calling them something else. They don't call them Pueblo or what, they call them Anasazi, the ancient ones or whatever. It's a different thing.
But it's the same.
It's very frustrating, that whole aspect of it. So, yeah. Can you type that Blackfoot word? Which one? I said a few Blackfoot words. Probably at the Pisco. Living place, eh?
Yeah.
This is like, if you were going to say, sacred site or whatever in Blackfoot, you'd say at the Pisco. It's a place with a living presence. There we go. So, itappi is to live, to be alive. That's why, like, humans are called matapiks, living. And so are all the animals. Ultimately, we're all matapiks. But yeah, when you say that word, people generally think about humans first. Hey, matapi.
No, our dogs are pretty human.
Sakyatapi spin on. We're still living.
Still living.
That's what the archaeologists don't understand.
Still here.
Yeah, that's my problem with archaeology. That's why I'm not into it. Okay? But and I see it because I was in repatriations too. So I've had to like really fight to get some archaeology collections like out of museums. Things that were basically like, consciously buried with people. The one that really affected me a lot was I was working for the Confederate Tribes of Grand Ronde in Oregon. And there was a big, like on the coast, I think it was called in Seaside, Oregon. But it's up on kind of the northern coast by where they filmed the Goonies. By Astoria. There was a place where there was big middens, shelled middens, and but they were burial mounds, eh? They're burial mounds. And so they had, like, in the 1950s, they had like these amateur archaeologists from community colleges were allowed to take their classes and just willy-nilly like conduct, fairly unprofessional excavations. And the group that worked these particular bins, these particular mounds, were sending their stuff. Well, they kept it for a while, and then ultimately ended up in the Smithsonian Institution. But that place was occupied for something like 10,000 years. That same site over and over and over and over again.
Mhm.
And then the burials that were there, like when I read through like the descriptions that those even the amateur archaeologists had taken about how, in the drawings about how they were laid out, the bodies and all of the materials with them and stuff, it was hard, eh? Like even talking about it now, it's hard because you start thinking, that's somebody's daughter, and they like left her with their favorite stuff.
Yes.
And these fuckers are doing a fun community college, come and dig them out. It's so disrespectful. And it's still happening all the time.
Mhm.
One of the things that I learned working for Grand Ron was when I went to the court against the Smithsonian for that collection and won. One of the things that their archaeologists were arguing was that some of the burials had been obviously burned by campfires that were over top of them in later years. And so they said, obviously this place has been occupied by different peoples that didn't know the burials were here, that they were just making camp on there and
Yeah.
stuff. But then I brought in elders from the tribe. They're like, no, that's what we do for our dead, afterward. Hey, like
Yeah.
when we know their final resting spot and they're buried, then we come and we make feasts for them and we burn all the food, like we burn it in the fire, hey, that we're feeding them.
Yeah.
And so and then the archaeologists for the Smithsonian fucking look pretty stupid, hey, pretty fucking stupid.
Yeah.
But
Oh shit.
But so okay, so over here at Head Smashed in Buffalo Jump, like 3 years ago, they found a big pit oven fully intact with all the food and stuff in there. And their assumption, somebody made this big feast and forgot about it and left it here. So we get to see what a big meal would have been in this fest. So they very carefully excavated it and sent it up to Edmonton to the museum where they've gone through it and stuff to learn about it. But I figure somebody's putting on a feast for the departed. And
That's what
these guys still don't know, and they just fucking take it, and
it's not for them. Like
No.
I know, like I've have found we my family that practices the stuff that we do. They still go and they feed our departed. They'll bring a meal after a ceremony, and they'll give part of their meal to our departed loved ones. And they still practice it. Like they'll go. It's different, of course, but they'll still go and do it.
Yeah. But when I heard that they had a whole pit oven full of food,
Oh my god.
I knew. Oh, nobody's just left that food.
It's for a reason.
You know how hard food was to get in the past? You don't fucking just leave food.
They must have forgot about it. No.
Yeah. No. It was left there on purpose as an offering, and you just stole an offering, And but the argument will be like, well, we can learn something from it, but you could also learn something from understanding that it's an offering and leaving it alone. There's something to be learned from that too. Like, just because I might learn something if I go like rummage through your house doesn't mean I should be able to do it.
Just go in there and be like, hey, I'm gonna check this out. I gotta know a few things about you.
Let me look in your drawers. I'm learning. I'm gonna write a report.
Get the fuck out. Fuck your report.
You know?
Space.
So that's the thing, hey. That's my problem with archaeology, is that it's all part of that. It's purposely at this point, purposely maintaining a naive state and a disconnection with the living communities that it's trying to tell the stories of.
Mhm.
Their ancestors. So it's frustrating. So I don't like archaeology really. I at one time entertained the idea of kind of writing about alternative methodologies of, like why can't, if you're interested in archaeology, why can't you just go and see what's there on the surface and learn and engage with the place from the tradition of the peoples that are in there. If you got questions, like I know the autopsy reveals certain kind of knowledge that that you don't get other ways, but you don't have the right to just autopsy anybody's shit. That's what it comes down to. And just because you've made up fictive cultures based on material culture stuff doesn't mean that this isn't these people's ancestral stuff that still live here, Yeah, it's like that, It's pretty, it's BS. So anyway, good question. We've gone over our hour now.
We did.
So if there's not any other questions, probably got to wrap our debrief for the evening.
Adam's yawning away.
We both got big days tomorrow. Chelsea's back to work. New group. And, so I'm sure you guys will see all that unravel in the future.
Yeah.
As I continue to vlog whatever
Vlog.
I want. That's going on in my life, not just the snake stuff. All right. Good night. Get a matzinuch boa.